There's sound here, but this is a it's not your race. It's kind of watching track and field. You haven't had a chance to see a lot of track for a while, so kind of open things up with a little video, and then we'll kind of hit it. That's pretty amazing. When I saw that, you know, 9.58. It's hard to believe that it's done, but it is. So here's one more. One thing that I've always, from day one, I've always believed when I was growing up, people that never make yourself faster. So you know, there's a lot of the old school that you don't either born with or not true. Okay, so that was, I had to put there. So we'll kind of fly through some of this stuff here. We can't develop speed, that's what we're going to talk about. And something I always believe is not when we start the race, we're finished. And so we want to make sure that the whole idea is every kid you have got a certain time he's running right now. The goal is whether he's a 13-100 guy or he's coming in the season running 11-1, we've got an opportunity to make him better. And that's what we want to try to figure out, a little detail to get that done. So, kind of break things down. Speed is broken down into, I break it down into 4 categories here. Stride length, stride frequency, efficiency, and quickness. We work on all these things. Our stride length really comes down to this. There's a proper stride length for everybody. And I'm not going to get into the science. I've had an opportunity to do some research and studying about, you got your canter length, how where your hips are, how everything's supposed to be, and you can take one of the things that I learned about, you can take like some a big roll of, like in high school, you got the big rolls of bulletin boards. Take that kind of paper, probably a little expensive, but if you go to like a butcher, they got that kind of paper to roll it out. And you have your tip of the spikes on, put some weight so the paper doesn't move, and have them sprint, flying 30, you can get to see how long his stride is and really measure it out. You could actually, and again, I'm not going to go into details of how it works, but there's some science where you can take a guy's stride length and then take his size, different things, and figure out what his exact stride is going to be. I'll tell you, I've seen that all written up, but who has the time to actually do all that? Honestly, we got a lot of guys that we have on our team. It's a big team. It's tough. And if you had coaching one guy, you're kind of just go specialize in a guy. You can do that kind of thing. So one of the biggest keys to me is kind of understanding stride length by getting good grasp when you see it and understanding what you're looking for. So stride length to me. Based on, of course, a kid's stride, and you watch them run, you can develop stride. But you're looking for 2 things, whether a kid's overstriding or understriding. The easiest thing to see when you do that is kind of foot placement. And so, as a guy is running, and when his foot comes down, if you're watching, and you notice that his foot gets in front of his knee, then he's overstriding. Okay? And sometimes it's just a minor thing, but you kind of tell. It looks like his foot's a little bit in front of the knee. If that heel starts to strike a little bit, he's braking a little bit, he's slowing himself down. That overstride doesn't help. Yeah, he gets a longer stride. No, what he does is braking. So as you watch, you want that foot to, and here's the rule. You want the lower leg to be 90 degrees, perpendicular to the ground on stride. If you notice a guy comes through and he's got, working on a little negative foot speed, brings his back, and as he strikes, he's actually got the knee over the toe, beyond that 90 degrees, Now he's understriding. And then you start working on developing your stride that way. And what I always try to do is teach and develop the idea of stride is not by reaching, but it's by the power and the push and what we call the triple extension through the hips, knees, and ankles to develop that power to get more push. And so it's not about trying to reach out for a stride. You just set up some drills. Let's work on some stride length. You see the kid kind of bounding to reach. You got to stop him right there, because now he's using poor mechanics to try to make something happen. And so what you try to do is create drills where it's when we had on the track before, I painted on the track backstretch. 6-foot strides for about 100 meters. The next lane, 6.5-foot strides, 100 meters. Next lane, 7-foot strides. Next lane, 7.5-foot strides. And so then kids can kind of fit in where they do. They can work on what fits the best. They're not overdoing something. And then when they get pretty good at that, you can kind of move them up and then continue to help them develop their stride. But over striding and under striding, you got to get that proper stride length. Frequency. You got to have a great long stride. Be very slow and low beat, not going to be real fast. It's the turnover rate. I've seen guys that look like they're rockets. They're going like crazy. Their stride's pretty short, and they just don't cover a lot of ground. So the stride frequency is another area that you want to work on. Now, how do you get better at stride frequency? Well, that's the biomechanics of sprinting. And as you look at the lever, and I'll come back to some of this stuff. I want to cover it now while it's up on the board. But a long lever is a slow lever. And so when a guy leaves the ground like this, and some kids just, the leg's back here and comes up and the heel stays down here. This is a long leg. It takes a while to get back up to here, and it's ready to come back and cycle through. The idea is to create a shorter, faster lever. And so when that foot leaves the ground, as soon as it leaves the ground, again, we still talk about the triple extension. When I say that, I'm talking about your hip, your knee, and your ankle. Get that full extension and push. When you get that done, as soon as that foot leaves the ground, you don't want it to hang back here. You want to get it back here as fast as possible. Even 1/100th of a second in every stride is going to help you out. So when it leaves the ground, right away you start to dorsiflex, pull your toe towards the front of the sky and the knee. And when it does, that gets us to come here. Your heel is going to end up right close to your butt, and then now I have a very short lever right here. So from here to here, I'm there quick, foot comes right back down, I'm ready to go. So we use the terminology, heel up, toe up, knee up, to get that in their head all the time. Heel up, toe up, knee up. We work these drills all the time. And I'm going to go over at the end a lot of your speed development drills you do in the exact way to try and get these things done. It's a really frustrating thing from the coach's standpoint when the kids do the drills and you do them all the time, every day. And the kids get a little bored with them. And I'm going to kind of speak on coaching here a little bit, just to, philosophy of coaching. When you leave track practice, I'm a football coach too, so I've got a mentality there. When you leave track practice, you should be hoarse and tired of talking because you've been on the whole time, positive or correcting, but do not stand off the side talking to your other coaches and kind of covering things you got to get done next day or something that happened in school or whatever, and let them go through their drills. And that's the norm. I mean, you're going to know that happens probably most of the time. And we find ourselves, we get caught in that sometimes. And I'm telling you right now, every kid deserves your undivided attention. So, if the kid's going and it's halfway through the season, it's time to do your drills, and he's doing his high knees, he's doing this, and you let that happen, like we always say, you're either coaching it or allowing it to happen. So you're allowing that to happen. Now you're wondering why we're not taking care of the details. How come he's not responding? And sometimes they don't want to hear it all the time. I'm not saying you're going to be negative with it. But you've got everybody drilling, and you're telling the one kid here, who maybe is only a 12,500 kid, but he's working his butt off. You say, hey, that's the way to do it, Johnny. Nice job. Good work. Knees up, knees up, knees up, knees up. And now he's really working. He's getting those knees up, and he's doing his thing. And somebody else wants that compliment too. And so now you get them to work. And now these things that we're going to talk about, how to develop some of these things, start to really happen. And it does take, talk about motor skill development, you've got to get the reps. You've got to get the reps. You've got to get the reps.